What's going on, my people? Welcome back to another episode of the Stop the Count podcast. In this episode, I'll talk about what went down over the weekend in boxing, the UFC, and also the Chivas vs Juarez game. First, for the Galal Yafai versus Tommy Frank fight. It was all action from the first bell. Both fighters came to fight, and that's what they did. For Tommy, it might not have been the best idea, but he gave us fans a great round, because that's how long it lasted. Less than a round is what it took for Galal to show Tommy's corner he was outmatched. After a knockdown, Galal continued the pressure and ended the fight in the first round. He's a true force to be reckoned with, and I honestly believe he's ready for any champion or top contender in his division. A truly great performance from Galal Yafai. Now, for the UFC, and starting with Andre Petroski. These are the type of test fighters need, an absolute dogfight, a great performance from both fighters, an extremely close fight, and Andre was able to pull off the split decision win. It could have gone either way. Andre was doing a great job on the feet, but when the fight would get taken to the ground, Andre's weakness would show. And this is why these type of fights are important for a career. It shows you where to get better, and I don't doubt next time we see Andre fight, he'll be improved. Now, for both of the tough fights, starting with Brad Katona versus Cody Gibson. What an amazing fight between these two. An all-out war between the two. Brad Katona was named the winner, thus naming him the tough bantamweight finale champion and getting him the UFC contract. But shit, both of these fighters deserve a contract. But of course, that does defeat the purpose of the whole show. Cody, more for the heart he showed to stay in the fight after taking so much damage, should at least get another shot of staying in the UFC. It was a great fight and an amazing matchup. But now for the lightweight matchup between Kurt Holobaugh versus Austin Hubbard. This was another good fight, not at the level of the prior one, but it was still a good fight. And in this one, Kurt Holobaugh was able to get the submission victory after a very close, well-fought first round. And a beautiful transition into the triangle early in the second round forces Austin Hubbard to tap out, making Brad Katona and Kurt Holobaugh this year's Ultimate Fighters. I wasn't as invested into this year's show really because I thought the whole McGregor situation killed it. Conor really did whatever he wanted to, and he would also show up whenever, so it kind of got boring for me. And now for chrisweidman versus Bradtavares. What a performance from Bradtavares. He did a great job in all aspects of his game. His takedown defense was on point, not letting Chris land a single takedown. And talking about the stand-up, Brad was again just dominant. His leg kicks were the real key to victory. Once he compromised Chris's legs early in the second round and was able to, I wouldn't say comfortably win, but it was damn near one-sided. Chris was not able to do much. His takedowns weren't landing and was really just looking for one big shot, and that one big shot never came. Nonetheless, congrats to Bradtavares on an amazing unanimous decision victory. Now, for Marlon Chitovera versus pedromunhoz. What a performance from both fighters. They both decided to keep the fight on their feet, and they displayed great boxing. But in a fight like this, 9 out of 10 times, Chito will win, and that's exactly what happened. A great jab is what propelled Chito to this great victory. It was in no way a perfect performance, but it was a great comeback win after the loss to Corey Sandhagen. And for Munoz, I don't think he takes a big hit to his stock. It was a great fight. Now, for damonblackshear versus mariobautista. I want to start this off by saying shout out to damonblackshear taking this fight on 7 days' notice and giving us another great fight. Both fighters showing they have a great ground game, although I do believe it was the pressure Bautista was able to apply in the fight that ultimately won him the fight. As the fight went on, Damon was looking really tired, and that allowed Bautista to have a great third round where he took Blackshear down twice and took his back both of those times. But that doesn't take away from a great fight from both of these fighters. Now, for neilmagny versus Ian Machado Gary. Domination is the only way you could describe this fight. Ian absolutely dismantled neilmagny, just beating Neil's legs, having him compromised from the second round on. The one knock could be we didn't really see Ian's ground game. He did get out of the clinch a couple of times, but every time Neil wanted to take him to the ground, Ian did a great job staying on his feet. But it was still a great performance from Ian, showing he's one of the best strikers in the welterweight division. Now for the first of 2 championship fights, zhangweili versus amandalemos for Zhang's strawweight title. Wow, what a performance from zhangweili. She absolutely dominated amandalemos on the ground. I said it in my last video and I'll say it again. Zhangweili is the best woman fighter in the UFC right now. There really isn't anything to say about this fight. Zhang mauled Amanda for 3 rounds, then had a good couple of rounds on the feet where she mixed in a couple takedowns. Who do you guys think beats this new and improved Zhangweili? Now for the fight we all wanted to see, Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley, first Sterling's bantamweight title. What a win for Sean O'Malley, the new UFC bantamweight champion of the world. A great counter right hand lands right on Aljo's chin, and Sean continues the ground shots, forcing referee Mark Goddard to end the fight. Aljo's game plan wasn't the best. Sean is the type of fighter you have to take him to the ground, not just stay on the feet with him. I said 2 key things in my last video, and one of them was it's sometimes better to be more like Merab and less like Joe Pyfer. I also said Aljo gets reckless and leaves his chin out there. And against someone like Sean, it'll only take one shot, and that's exactly what it took. And now for the stoppage. If you think that was an early stoppage, you're 100% wrong. Aljo was not defending himself. He was moving around on the ground, yes, but that still doesn't take away from all the headshots Sean was landing while Aljo was on the ground. That takes nothing away from the hell of a fighter Sean O'Malley is. To knock out what many people see as the greatest bantamweight of all time is something special. And for me, as someone who thought Aljo was gonna win, I must admit I was wrong, and I couldn't be happier to see someone like Sean, who always believed in himself, do it. But who do you guys think Sean fights next? Should he fight Merab, or should he go after maybe someone like Chitovera for the rematch? Or do you think Aljamain stays at 135 and gets an immediate rematch? Nonetheless, this ended the great fight card that was UFC 292. And finally, now for the Chivas game versus Juarez. Chivas came out with the lineup in which, in all honesty, I didn't like. Alanmozo and pochoguzman were set, and Chapito Sanchez and Oso Gonzalez played in their positions. Ricardo Marin was also set, and Jesus Brigido came in to replace him, but not as a striker. Alexis Vega was playing as Chivas' number 9, which I don't mind. It really just somewhat limits his playmaking ability. But as for the first half, I would say the game was very close. Well fought, Chivas were able to score in the 21st minute after a great play from Piojo Alvarado and Alexis that ultimately led with Piojo having a great shot saved by Juarez's goalkeeper Alfredo Talavera and Alexis scoring off the rebound, putting Chivas up 1-0. That's really all that happened. It was a very evenly matched first half. Some would even say very boring. As the second half started, it was a lot of the same, a very equal game with very minimal chances between the two. I would say the closest was a free kick chance Juarez had that hit the crossbar, and Huacho was able to somehow get a hand on it to stop it from going in off the bounce. But then Yael Padilla came on and was making very good plays, but Chivas couldn't finish shit. Ultimately, Chivas gave up a penalty late into the game that Juarez put away and leveled it at 1. There was also a foul on Pocho late in the box, and referee Fernando Hernandez, who's just coming back from a suspension that obviously didn't help him get better at officiating, did nothing about it. The Juarez defender was in no way looking to go for the ball, jumping straight into Pocho's back, and nothing, no foul call. This was, in my opinion, a clear penalty, so much clearer than the penalty Juarez were awarded. That was the last big play of the game, and it ended a 1-1 draw. Now, I'm not going to talk much about how Chivas played because I think they played good and better than what we all expected. They were able to come back and play good after that horrible Leagues Cup performance. Really, the only thing I would say Chivas could have done better was maybe attempting to create more chances in the opponent's final third. Besides that, I thought they played really good. But now for a team Chivas will play this Tuesday, and that's Xolos at home, a team managed by Piojoherrera and a team Chivas beat last year 2-1. And ironically, a 2-1 Chivas win has been the final score the last 3 times they faced each other. The last time Xolos was able to beat Chivas was in 2019, almost 4 years ago. Xolos did not have a game this past weekend, so Chivas will be their first opponent coming off of their own bad Leagues Cup performances. But Xolos still have a great team, and Chivas are coming off of 3 days rest, while Xolos had 3 weeks off. Chivas will more than likely rest some players for this game, and hopefully we'll see Alanmozo and Pocho back in the starting lineup after playing off the bench last game. I'm also not going to criticize Paunovic for his substitutions, but the one thing I do agree with is that he doesn't have to make all 5. The one thing I want to see from Chivas players is instead of trying to make easier, cleaner chances, to just shoot the damn ball. For who I have winning this game, I believe Chivas are closer to losing this game than they are to winning it. I believe it'll be a 1-1 draw. It has a lot to do with how Piojo manages his team. This no-neck motherfucker always has his team overperforming and having a good game against Chivas. So that's my prediction. A 1-1 Chivas and Xolos draw. That'll be it for me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also follow me on Twitter at StopTheCount10. See you guys later on this week as I talk about the great fights that await us. See you then.